Hello, we're on lesson 102, subtracting decimals with zeros in them. So it's kind of a culmination of a couple of lessons we've done recently. So you got to remember to line up your decimals when you're adding and subtracting numbers with decimals in them. We're going to talk about adding some zeros to numbers that don't have enough, so we make sure we all have the same place value. So the first thing they tell you is they want to say 4/10 take away or subtract 23 hundredths. So they wrote it that way. So we're going to make sure we do vertically instead of horizontally because it's easier to subtract. So this is a larger number. This is a smaller number. Usually the larger number for you guys right now in 5th grade goes on top. Smaller number goes on the bottom. First number definitely goes on the top always. Second number goes on the bottom. So how do you know which one's larger? Well, here's a trick. If you go digit by digit, so they're the same. They're 0 or less than 1. Oh, okay, if I compare the tenths places, I have 4/10 and 2/10. So 4 is bigger than 2. So that makes that number bigger. Let's keep going. So 4 is still bigger than 23 hundredths, right? Well, I see a blank spot here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a 0 in, okay? And now I can do my same comparison. Same, 4 is bigger, so that number's bigger. It doesn't even matter what's on the back end. If I get to a place where the one number's bigger than the other, in this case the tenths place, I can find out which number is bigger. So 40 hundredths is bigger than 23 hundredths. Easy peasy. Remember, when I'm adding and subtracting decimals, I need to make sure and line my decimals up, and then I can just bring it straight down, okay? And then I can ignore it. It doesn't even matter. Once it's there, it's going to be in your answer in the right place, so you can just pretend like it doesn't exist. Okay, let's read example 1. It says brand X computer completed a task in 4/10 of a second. A brand Y computer completed the same task in 231 thousandths fewer seconds. What length of time did the brand Y computer take to complete the task? Okay, so 4/10, 231 thousandths. I add my zeros, bring my decimal down, and then it's pretty easy, right? To make sure their decimals are lined up, bring it down, then you can ignore it. When you are, oops, here's another page. So just a little quick reminder about subtracting decimals with subtracting numbers with zeros. Okay, so 400 minus 231. Let's do it again. I'm going to have to borrow, right? Can't borrow here, so I'm going to borrow 1 there. That turns into a 3. My 1 goes next door, but it's still not here yet. So that turns into a 10, right? I took that row, turned it into a 10. Borrow 1 again, and it gets here. So once I do that, and you guys know that, so just a reminder. 10 minus 1 is 9, 9 minus 3 is 6, 3 minus 2 is 1. And then in this case, I had my decimals. So I had my decimals down there. So 169 thousandths faster. I'd rather buy the Y computer, wouldn't you? It's the same price. I don't know. Okay, example 2. A pedometer measures the distance a person has walked. Jana is walking 3 kilometers to Rochelle's house. While waiting in a crosswalk, Jana notices that her pedometer reads 1 23 hundredths kilometers. So what distance does Jana still need to walk to arrive at Rochelle's house? So I know that it's 3 kilometers from Jana's house to Rochelle's house. I know that she's already gone 1 23 hundredths kilometers. So how much more does she have to go? So here's my total distance, how far she's gone, what's left to go. Put my decimals in, line them up, and forget about them, okay? Do my borrowing, and I get 177 177 hundredths. 1.77, 1 and 77 hundredths, sorry about that, kilometers still to go. Okay? Example 3. The trick with this one is we're going to say it's an estimating problem. So in 2004, the land area of Laredo, Texas was 83 and 44 square miles. In 1993, the land area was only 44 square miles. Between 1993 and 2004, the city of Laredo added about. So when you have that about word, you're estimating. Okay, so I'm going to round those numbers before I subtract them. I know that 44 hundredths is going to round down because it's less than halfway between 84 and 85. It's less than 50, right? So that's going to round to 84. 44 is already nice and even. I don't have to change anything about that. So 84 minus 44 is 40 square miles. Okay. Go back to your estimating lesson if you had a little bit of trouble with that. I don't think you will, but remember that you're not rounding down to 83. You're just rounding down to 84. That number, 84 and 44 hundredths, is almost halfway in the middle between 84 and 85, but it's slightly closer to 84. So that's how you change that number. Okay. On your lesson practice, A through J, remember, line up your decimals. Once you line them up and bring it down, you don't have to worry about them anymore, okay, until you read it. On K, they tell you that Anissa is pouring cranberry juice. So she had 2 liters. She poured out 1.2 liters. How much is left? So you're going to subtract 2 and take away or subtract 1.2 liters and find out what you get left. And L is an about problem, about how much greater. So you're going to round those numbers before you subtract, okay? This lesson isn't too bad. The next one coming up, I really need you to pay attention to the surface area part. So if you have any troubles on this, email me. When you get to the next one, lesson 103, I want you to realize it's going to be a little bit longer. Take you a little bit of extra time to figure out surface area. Not so much volume, but surface area. So we'll do that one next. Good luck. Email me if you need help.